Have you with us. Joining us now, House of Delegates member Terry Kilgore. He represents the 1st District in Virginia in the House of Delegates. That's Lee County, Scott County, and the city of Norton, part of Wise County, and he's in leadership. Delegate Kilgore, great to have you with us.
Oh, great to be with you this morning, John. Hope you're having a good morning.
Super. Delegate, one of the reasons I wanted to get you on today is we have focused so much on the disaster going on with the 3 state Democrats and the scandals, the blackface, the pictures, the photos, the allegations against Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax. I mean, that's what everybody has talked about here for weeks. But what we've not talked about, Terry Kilgore, is the accomplishments of this Republican-controlled House of Delegates in this session 2019 on what looks like a great budget, a great tax reform, tax cut package, raising what we think is going to be the minimum age for vaping, which I'm 100% in favor of, and things of that nature. You guys have had some great accomplishments. I just wanted to get you on, with all the bad things going on, what are some of the major things that the House of Delegates under Kirk Cox's speakership has been able to do in 2019?
Well, I mean, we've had a great session. You know, we just avoided all the try to avoid all the scandal, talking about all that, and just focused on working, John. And by doing that, we were able to pass a great budget, a budget that includes a big tax break. It includes money going back into our citizens' pockets this year, by basically saying it's your money, and that's the difference. That I think that we went into this session with, saying that it's our constituents' money. All this money came as a result. A lot of it came as a result of the Trump tax break, and we've been able to put some of those money, invest some of those monies into teacher salaries, bring those teacher salaries up to 5%. And we've had a really good session, and allowing folks to we were raising the standard deduction. I think all in all, this will go down as one of our better sessions that I've been involved with in a while. And I've been here. This is my 26th session, so I can look back historically and say that this is one of our good sessions.
When you talk about the budget, let's get to that. Constitutionally, Delegate Kilgore, the budget's got to be balanced. So, once in a while the Democrats will get on and say, well, we balanced the Virginia budget. Well, you have to. It's part of the Constitution. So that doesn't count really. It really comes down to how you balance it. What are some of the things in your budget that you've done that you want to talk about?
Well, some of the things that we've done, like I said, we've really invested in education. We've put more money back to our localities for education. And other areas that we've looked at, we've looked at investing in some of our school safety, which is a very important concern for a lot of our parents and very important for the Commonwealth. We've put more money for school resource officers, more mental health possibilities for our children to get the help they need. But also, on the flip side, we've put a lot more money into our rainy day fund, and that's the fund that we can use if the economy goes gets a hiccup or goes bad for a while. We can use that money without raising taxes, and I think that's it's like having a savings account, and that's really, really important for us in the Commonwealth. So, those are some of the highlights. But the budget has a lot of good in it this year, and it's something that we all worked on under the leadership of Kirk Cox, Chris Jones, and others. We've been able to really make some headway in the budget this year and address some things that we hadn't been able to address for a while.
Delegate Kilgore, what about pay raises for teachers and state troopers?
Yeah, we were able to do that. Pay teachers 5%. State troopers they got another pay raise, but we also were funded the state troopers last year and year before last, trying to bring those state troopers up to where they need to be, and we've made really great progress on that. So we're really excited about what we're doing for not only teachers but state employees and others who are working for our state. Is
the governor going to sign it?
Oh, I'm sure he's going to sign it. John, he agreed with our tax plan. He's signed off on our tax plan. And I know that Kirk Cox and Chris Jones have worked closely with Audrey Lane, the Secretary of Finance. So, I think everything's a go as it relates to the budget now. Now we're in that stage right now where we're in the budget conferees and trying to make sure that we match up the Senate and the House versions. So we'll see how that goes, but it's going pretty good. So we should get out of here on time.
John Fredericks Radio Network. We're with House of Delegates member and part of leadership Terry Kilgore. He represents Southwest Virginia. He's in the 1st District of Virginia, Lee Scott, and part of City of Norton, Virginia. Delegate Kilgore, let's get to Medicaid expansion. You and I were big proponents of that, and we thought we did the right thing in giving healthcare access to hard-working Virginians, many of them in Southwest Virginia now. When Terry McAuliffe was governor, he kept talking about all the money that Virginia was losing because they didn't participate in the Medicaid expansion program, the money they were losing from the federal government. Now that we've passed it, is that money coming into Virginia, and what kind of a difference, Terry, has that made?
Yeah, it is coming into Virginia, John, and you're right. You and I both agreed on this particular issue that we needed, since other states were getting their Medicaid expansion money, like New York, California, other states, and it was federal money, we should be taking our part. And, taking our part meant that we were allowed to offer insurance or health care for those folks who could least afford it, and it really helped in my particular area. And, yes, we are doing quite well in that area, We signed up a bunch of over close to 300,000 individuals, I think, already, and I think it's going to be a big difference. It's already showed me a big difference in some of our free clinics, that they have been able to see a lot more people now that have Medicaid, have the Medicaid card. So it's been great, and I think it's also good for our economy because, we need a healthy workforce, and that's very important to us.
So I'm very pleased with what we did with the Medicaid expansion. I think we did in Virginia, Terry Kilgore, the right thing at the right time. And as you said, over 300,000 lower-income, hardworking Virginians have signed up for this, giving them access to health care. And again, so everybody understands, when we went with Medicaid expansion, it was because we were convinced that it was here to stay. It was not going away. Other states were getting the money. And we had this gap of people that have jobs that are productive but couldn't afford insurance on one hand and didn't qualify for traditional Medicaid on the other hand. And so we were able to do that, and I think that was absolutely the right thing to do. Let's get to Route 81. Interstate 81. Anybody that travels that, I feel bad for those on that corridor because I'm in the Southeast Virginia corridor. I guess they call it the Golden Corridor or something. Basically, Virginia Beach to Washington, D.C., 64 to 95. My neighbors in Southeast Virginia have been the overwhelming beneficiary of the 2013 Bob McDonnell tax, transportation, raise, compromise, however you want to frame it, for expanding our arteries. And now it's 2019, right? 6 years later, Terry, we're really seeing the benefit of it. I mean, you drive from Virginia Beach to D.C. now. It's only about half done. There's still barrels and barriers up through Fredericksburg and past Newport News, but it's already cut 45 minutes off of my drive to Washington and 25 minutes off my drive to Richmond. Just what's done now. When it's all done, it's going to save me an hour and a half. I mean, it's unbelievable what they've done here. But then I look at when I go down 81, it's like, well, they're getting screwed because they're not getting any of this money. How do we fix that?
Well, we have to come up with a plan. We have to come together as a group of 81 legislators. You know, I'm at the very end. I drive that all the way from from mile marker. From mile marker 0 all the way to 222 every week. So you know, it's huge for me and my constituents. So we have to come together with a source of money that we can dedicate to Route 81, and not put it, a source that doesn't go into the whole Commonwealth Transportation Board, because we're not going to get that. That'll be used on other projects. So we have to do something like your area did, John, or Northern Virginia did, where we have our own stream of income, and that's something that we've been trying to work on and trying to agree on in the last while we've been up here in session. So it's something that we're continuing to work on. Met yesterday, trying to get some solutions.
What about what about Senator Edwards' bill, which is basically, let's get a gas tax, but then the first what is it, $300 million or something goes to 81. Dedicate that money. I know, look, we can have the tax debate. I get it. I went through it in 2013. I backed the speaker on it. I backed McConnell on it. I was the only person in conservative media to do that. But now you're getting the benefits of it. And as I told, Pete Snyder and them when they were running for statewide office that were going crazy over it, it was like, dude, you're not going to find the money in the general fund, and it's not like hidden under the couch. I mean, you got to get the money to build roads. I mean, why not just do the Edwards plan?
You're exactly right, John. No's not a solution.
Yes.
And you can say no all you want to. Like I tell a lot of my colleagues, if you want to say no, go to Washington. They say no. What we need to do is try to find solutions. And, Edwards' plan, while that's a good, that's a possibility. Other things we need to look at, you need to look at the diesel tax. You need to look at, some other some truck registration fees. You can cobble a bunch to get a bunch of these things together where it wouldn't be as much on one particular class. So we've got to look at something that's holistic.
All right. Well, sounds like you guys are working on it. Terry Kilgore with us, House of Delegates member, represents the 1st District of Virginia, that is way southwest Virginia. Terry, let's get to a couple of the other hot issues out there. And I'm going to start with a couple of politics and then get back to policy. Patrick Hope, a week ago, said he was going to introduce impeachment papers in the House against Justin Fairfax. Many of us thought that was a little premature because he's not been convicted of anything, and I don't really think it's the place of the House to be judging a jury, and he's got a right to defend himself. Now he's backed off on that. If that were to come forward right now, in the situation it is now with the lieutenant governor, do you feel going ahead with impeachment right now is the right thing to do, or do you think that the House should wait on that?
Yeah, we need to wait on that. We need to see what happens. It's one of those, you've got to give folks their due process while what the allegations are really bad. We got to, we become a country that's quick to judge, so we need to step back, take a deep breath, and figure out exactly what our role should be, what the role of folks who are the investigative bodies like the district attorneys of wherever these acts allegedly occurred, their role, and try to just see what we really need to do. But to jump into an impeachment is premature at this time.
Going forward, all 3 statewide office holders Delegate Kilgore have been somewhat tarnished. Many people have asked for them to resign. It appears they're not. I mean, Governor Northam has said he's not resigning. Mark Herring, who has got to get the ultimate hypocrisy award in the history of America based on what he did. I mean, he's not resigning. I mean, that to me, I don't know what Justin Fairfax did, but from the hypocrisy standpoint, I don't know how Mark Herring can go forward in any possible way after throwing his friend under the bus Saturday and then doing the same thing Monday and then crying about it, say he was haunted for 35 years. Obviously, he wasn't haunted enough on Saturday to tell the governor to resign and threw him under the bus. I mean, the whole thing is gross. How do you go forward? Just for our listeners, how do you go forward governing with basically 3 statewide office holders in power that multiple people and organizations have asked to resign, including the majority in their own party?
Right. I mean, it's obviously a tough time in Virginia. And my biggest concern, John, is, Virginia, we were growing, we were moving up the list again, has one of the best states to do business. And I really, being chair of Commerce and Labor, that's been my focus, to make sure that we're able to recruit, retain our corporate headquarters here in Virginia, recruit more headquarters like Amazon and things of that nature. But, this tarnishes us a little bit, and we've got to regain the trust of our fellow Americans right now as Virginians. So we've got to buckle down, step down. That's one reason that I think that what we've been doing as the House and as the Senate, working with the Senate, I think that's very important to show, hey, we're doing business as usual. This is where we're going in this great Commonwealth, and we're moving on.
I think that's what you have to do. You just have to go forward.
I think obviously you have to do that.
You just got to move forward. Okay, final question. We're almost out of time. Amazon pulled out of New York City, 25,000 jobs gone. They didn't like the way some of the rhetoric was going. We've had some opposition to the Amazon deal in Northern Virginia. That's about, 15,000 jobs. Do you think Virginia did the right thing in negotiating that corporate deal and those giveaways, or not?
Yeah, I think so, John. I think you got to look at it holistically. You got to look at it as the number of jobs, the investments coming into Virginia, the possibility and the of working with our higher education like Virginia Tech, like UVA, and working with those some of our big flagship universities to create that workforce that we need. And that workforce, also they're looking at other parts of the state. They're going to need data centers. They're going to need fiber. They're going to need all kinds of other, they're going to need not just up in Arlington, but they're going to need other opportunities in other parts of the state. So, I think all in all, it's a good deal. All in all, our folks did a better deal than what they did in New York. But listen, if New York wants to look here to put those other jobs, if Amazon wants to look and put the other jobs here, I think we'd be ready and able to help them with that too. So I think it's a great deal for the Commonwealth, because we are a Commonwealth, and I've always said that a rising tide floats all boats, and that's what we should be focusing on.
All right, sir, we're out of time. I want to thank House of Delegates member Terry Kilgore for being with us today.